Good evening, Nigerian. Good evening, Niger State. As I promised to bring you live to another edition of our program, live streaming show to discuss our current affairs and issues that are affecting us as a nation and as a Nigerian entirely. Today we have one of our voice in Africa and a voice in Nigeria who has been championing how we can be able to make ourselves a great nation. Today we have Sowore. He's a Nigerian human rights activist, pro-democracy campaigner, former presidential candidate and founder of online news agency Sowore Reporters. He was born 16 February 1971, a graduate of University of Lagos, where he studied geography and planning. He was a student activist even before he was in university. He was expelled twice for a political and student activism. He was the president of Student Union Government, University of Lagos, from 1992 to 1994. He's an advocate for anti-cultism and anti-corruption. On August 2019, Sowore was arrested by Nigerian Security Services (SSS) for alleged treason after call for a protest tag Revolution Now. On 24 September, he was granted bail by Federal High Court in Abuja, but he was denied until international organizations and international countries intervened. He was released and is now in Abuja with some tag that he must be there, and those are the conditions given to him on his bail. Sowore started Sowore Reporters in New York City in 2006 to fight against corruption, wrong government policies, and what have you. You are welcome to the studio, Mr. Sowore.
Thank you for having me, Mohammed. Thank you.
Yes. Today we are going to discuss Nigeria at 60, the paradigm shift. And having you today, I think you dwell on things that are affecting us as a nation. Let me start with you. What can you tell us briefly about yourself to the present days we are?
Mohammed, I think you've already spoken to who I am. You've read my biography to my personal satisfaction and beyond. I'm a Nigerian who is as worried as most of you are out there, particularly that 60 years after our so-called independence, Nigeria remains in a state of circumlocution. There's plenty of motion, no movement. That's what I mean. And yes, I spent 50 years out of 50 years in the country, Nigeria, some of it outside of the shores of Nigeria, and I cannot believe that Nigeria has refused as a country to become a nation. And just really, really disappointed about that. And I've dedicated most of my adult life to fighting to make Nigeria a place that is desirable for all to live. You know.
Yes. What do you think is wrong with us on our current setting as a nation?
It's leadership. We can't say enough of this. Every time you look at every nation that has progressed, every country, nation that has progressed in the world, there's been a time that they have defining moments, and leadership is what made those moments become a different trajectory for them. So in Nigeria, the leadership question, the leadership pandemic, as I like to put it, has become so synonymous with stunted growth or the arrested development of the Nigerian nation. So it's nothing more than leadership. We can point them out. We know the people who put Nigeria in the condition that it is today. They have names, they have home addresses, they have titles, they have pedigree, negative pedigree in destroying what is current Nigeria.
What you're saying now is, with the structure we have now, for 60 years, the leadership quality in the countries is the one that is affecting the brain of us to develop as a nation.
Yes, leadership.
Now,
Yes.
you are saying, now you are saying that most people that are part of this deteriorating of leadership, we know them, we have their addresses. Why the system didn't challenge them?
Why the system did not challenge them, you said?
Yes.
Well, they created the system. They in every way possible or unimaginable. They created the system and they control the system to today. They control the system, some of them before they get into power. They control it while they are in power, and they control it after they are in power. So that the system doesn't work for anybody else but for them. That's why.
Now, let me bring you in. Now, we celebrate Nigerian youth today across the world, as today is the nation for the youth. Now, are you telling me that with the system, the youth have not been able to observe that there is lacuna in the system? Because virtually what is happening today is the system is being supported by the current youth we have.
In some ways, the young people can be blamed and they cannot be blamed. And I'm not speaking from both sides of my mouth. Because, you see, our parents, when they had a chance, they did nothing in the system. And now that we're youth, anytime we try to do anything, our parents are still a stumbling block for us to do anything. So, and a lot of young people have never really seen what it means to have a functioning country. So you can't blame them when they are not fighting for one because the system, as I mentioned, the leadership in place had put in motion everything that will kill the spirit of the youth, that will kill their strength and their will and their progress. So you can't blame the youth. But in some other ways, because I put it both ways, you can also blame them for being complacent and being complicit in their own condition. In the sense that there are a lot of things that they could have done. There are examples of other young people across the world who have changed their particular circumstances. And in some ways, the youth of Nigeria are vast in learning about other countries. In fact, sometimes they participate in the struggle for the liberation of other countries. They engage in struggles that help other countries. I remember recently how Nigerian youth were actively involved in the George Floyd Black Lives Matter. They were trending it on Twitter and on Facebook every day. But when it comes to removing the knee of their oppressors, the same young people will be defending them on social media and telling anybody who stands up to them, they will insult you. They will tell you don't know what you are doing. They will find other excuses. So that is a particular puzzle that I have not been able to resolve in my head. Why Nigerian youths are like that? But of course, when I say I can't resolve it, I understand partially the reason why. They've created division, they've emasculated, they've confused them mentally and psychologically. They've used religion and ethnicity. They've used everything possible to create cleavages within our society, such that young people you call youth, don't even know where to start. And that's what is one credit you have to give to the leaders. very dangerous Nigerian leaders that they have achieved that. And peripherally, fundamentally, they've also used hunger, starvation, and the denial of social progress to keep the youths under control in Nigeria. But one day, and I think this very soon, the genie will leave the bottle.
Yet now, are you telling me that since you started your struggle, you've observed that these are major problems that is affecting us as a nation because we fight for the struggle and freedom of other people in another clime, but in our own situation, we've been divided along some ethnic and religious lines. Now, what can you say prompted you to do another form of what we call calling for a clarion call? What prompted you to do that again? Because you've identified these are major problems, and you are now into another clarion call. Do you think the system can still allow it to flourish?
You know, I'm an incurable fighter, and some part of me is like I use the analogy of a teacher. My father is a teacher, and I'm also a teacher in a small way. I'm a university part-time lecturer in the US. You know, a teacher doesn't give up teaching because their students fail. You know, in any particular exam, you keep teaching until you produce every year in year out, regardless of whether your student fail or pass. You challenge yourself to do better so that you can produce better students, right? So it's like it's a lifelong course for me to not give up on not just Nigeria, but humanity, because we cannot think that 200 million people are people that we just give up on and hope that they find their way. You know, part of it I think is also for me, even though I'm not religious, I think it's destiny that I'm destined to just fight until somehow we achieve victory, until the system is totally changed or dismantled. This oppressive system we have in our country. So I don't give up, and I always encourage other people not to give up because you know you keep pushing and shoving until you know until you say until the push gets becomes a shove or it gets to shove. So so
Let me
I know that as a young person, 1 second here, as a young person, we fought against apartheid South Africa. We were championing anti-apartheid struggle. A lot of Nigerian students, activists, the Nigerian nation fought against apartheid. You know, we fought wars. Our older parents fought wars in Burma and Congo. Even Nigerians fought, on the side of the Allied forces to end during the Second World War. We fought for independence, the stability of the Congo. We fought against apartheid. We fought as recently as you and I know for Black Lives Matter. I don't understand why we fight for ourselves or fight our own internal colonialists. But I've explained part of it to you.
let me cut you short. Now, you're fighting, and with the last statement from the spokesperson of the president, let me go back to the governance entirely. He said the fighters are irritant. What can you say about that? That the fighters are irritant because they are few in numbers. What's your take on that?
Well, I don't have any take on that. There is a saying that the ones that the God wants to destroy, they first make arrogant, they first make mad. When you're hearing that, you know that the fighters are making a strong impact. Let me give you a very small example. In 2019, when we had a revolution now, they arrested me before the event could even happen. But the event went ahead, it took place. They arrested a lot of people across the country. But they issued a statement thanking Nigerians for not joining the the fight against the government because they were really scared. So they never thought that a year later, more Nigerians will join in the protests. When that happened, they were shocked. They were shocked beyond belief that they wanted to trivialize the severity of this particular struggle, that they started saying things like, oh, it's child's play, it is their irritants. In the first place, you're right. When you're fighting a state like Nigerian government, it is meant to unsettle them. It's irritation. They will first be irritated. You know, when you have social movements pushing against oppression, right? There are three stages of it, right? I call it the 3 R's, triple R. First is to ruffle, second is to reform, and third is to remove oppression. So you can imagine when the 3 stages would have been met. And I think we're close to the last stage. But I think right now they're just in denial. They're just in denial. This really hit them really bad, you know, and they just don't know how best to react. So their only reaction to such a massive outing is to say that there is limitation. But they will soon find out. But the last part I also wanted to draw attention to is that when Saddam Hussein was about to lose power in Iraq, and it's not, in my view, a very proud analogy because I have my problem with how Saddam was removed from power. They used to have a minister of information. His name is his alias name is Comic Ali. He will come on TV every day, even when you'll be hearing in his background that the Allied forces are close. He'll be saying that we are still in control. We are still in control until they took over the capital city, Baghdad. He kept saying, we are still in control. We are still in control. And I'll give another last analogy, which is also a small story about death and the servants. So one day, Death wanted to kill this servant. So Death told the servant of this man, is some guy in Baghdad, is a businessman a merchant in Baghdad as well. So he went to him and said, he went to his boss, his master. He said, Master, Death is looking for me. Give me a bicycle. I want to run and hide. I want to go to the market and hide from Death. No, I want to go to Samaria. But before I go to Samaria, I want to go to the market and help you to shop. Right? I'm breaking this thing down. It's a whole story. So when Death got to the market, he saw the servant and he said, what are you doing here? I've been looking for you. He said, no, I am not here. You can't find me. He said, I have already secured my way to Samaria. You can never meet me there. So Death now told him that, yes, me too. I only came here to buy some things. In fact, I'm prepared for you in Samaria. That's exactly where I'm waiting for you. Can you hear me?
I can get you. Somebody mentioned in our comments. So someone said, why is it that Mr. Sowore regionally centered rather than the nationalistic in his agitation? What's your take on that?
Why what?
He said, why is it your agitation is regionally centered rather than being nationalistic in the agitation? Then you can see from the comment view.
Person is not talking about me. I've never had any regional agenda. I've been nationally centered. So the person is probably referring to another person, not me. I've never had any regional agenda. In fact, I'm known for being opposed to breakup of Nigeria. I'm opposed to breaking up Nigeria. I don't have any regional agenda actually. So the person is wrong.
Okay.
That question is not for me.
Thank you. Now, let's move forward. Nigerian at 60. What do you think we can do differently from what we are doing before so that we can move forward as a nation?
You have to change the system fundamentally. The system must be dismantled and abandoned because it has become discredited. It cannot. I don't want to lie. I don't want to be part of the lie that somehow Nigeria has even passed the level of reform. We can't have it. We can't reform the system. The leaders who have destroyed Nigeria are so much in control of the system that the system is impervious to reform, except yes, except you completely take it down. Uh, you cannot reform it. There's no way we can make progress without a revolution.
Okay. Now, with your suggestions, is it part of your revolution now agitation? The kind of what you are suggesting, is it part of what you are thinking we can also join hands with so that we can be able to rejig the whole thing? Because
yes,
let me bring you a yeah, okay. Continue.
everybody should join in. Everybody should join in. I think at this point, more and more people, a lot of people have realized that I was right a year ago. In fact, I would admit that it took us too long to take that position. We should have taken the position a long time ago, as far back as I don't know when, yesterday. Yeah, we came late. We came a little bit even too late, but it's better late than never.
Okay. Now you've agreed that, but most Nigerians believe that your revolution now has some undertone. That is why immediately you contested an election in 2019. You started a revolution now. Why would you contest an election with a sitting president and you are still agitated for a revolution now? And that is why maybe the government is fighting about your revolution now protest.
Nobody, nobody should give in to an excuse that because I contested the election, I cannot fight for a revolution. In fact, it was my contesting the election that opened my eyes finally to the fact that Nigeria is in need of revolution because of what I saw around the country. You see, before I contested the election, I had never been to many parts of Nigeria personally. I schooled in the south, I did NYC in the north, but with the election, I was able to visit 36, almost 35 states, if you add the FCT, some of them twice. And I saw the conditions of the country, and I know who are responsible for it. I contested the election, and I know that these people no longer conduct elections. So I came to an inevitable conclusion that the only way out of the revolution is that we have to dismantle the old order. And so as to school of, educate people who say that, because I know it's a narrative by the ruling party. President Buhari himself had led several protests since he has been losing the election. In 2003, when he lost the election against Obasanjo, he led the protest. 2011, he led the protest against Jonathan. The pictures are out there. President Buhari openly supported the Nigerian revolution. He has not denied these things. So what are we talking about? It's just a narrative by the ruling party.
But what you are saying now, during their protest, it's not for the tag of revolution, it's tag something else. And maybe the revolution word That's what made the government
It's not.
think that
It's not the
you
job
want to
of.
change the system.
It's not the job of the oppressor to tell you what to tag your protest. No, it's not their job. It's your duty to call it whatever name you want. You are the oppressed. You are the one who determines how you want to be celebrated. What do you expect me to go to the Minister of Information to get a tag for the revolution, to get a tag for my protest? No, we don't do that. We are the ones who want to change the system. We determine what we call it. The oppressors will always be against anyhow you tag your protest because they don't want the system to change. They want to change the system. And we don't want to hide our feelings about it. We don't want to call it celebration now when we are suffering.
But somebody, Musa Ibrahim Tadu said, would you like to have honest thought on the concept revolution vis-a-vis the provision in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I would like to have a honest thought on that because the revolution now is not attached to anything in our way of life.
Musa Douala, I don't believe in the 1999 Constitution. I've said that publicly. It was not a Nigerian Constitution. It was a Constitution imposed on Nigeria by the military. Part of what we are targeting is that Constitution. That Constitution does not represent our aspirations as a nation, and that we must create the objective conditions for a brand new Constitution that will go through a referendum. That is what the South Africans did immediately after the. We want to end our own apartheid first and then create our own constitution. So I'm sorry, I don't believe in the 1999 constitution. That's my opinion.
Yes, but if you don't blame in 1999, if you don't have belief in the 1999 constitution, why did you contest an election with the constitution being guided by the Electoral Act and you contested the election? And you don't believe in it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether it's
What I'm saying. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you before.
Yes, what I'm saying is you contested an election in 2019. And you are saying now you don't believe in the Constitution. And the Constitution is the one that guides even the election that you participate in. What are you saying?
I contested the election under whatever constitution that was at that time, with the hope that when I win, I will change the constitution. And I was saying that even during the have you not seen the clip of the senator? Senator is a professor from Osun State, Adeyeye. At the floor of the Senate, he said that the Nigerian Constitution is a worthless document. He was a senator. I don't know if there's something new about that. We've always said the Constitution is not representative of the aspirations of Nigeria.
Yes, Mr. Rafiu just asked a question that if the revolution works out, what are the structure already in place or plans to fix Nigeria?
Oh, as soon as the revolution works out, we will give you the next stages and the next step. It's not Sowore's revolution, it's a national revolution that would bring everybody in the nation together to create a different structure and system that will take care of the aspirations. I've said that before. I'm not instigating or asking for a revolution so that I will personally decide for what will become Nigeria's future in my death. No. It's going to be everybody. It's the reason why we have been mobilizing young people, particularly, because it's the future of young people that is primarily at stake. It's part of the reason why you say that I'm also structuring of this restructuring discussion, because I don't believe that old people should restructure Nigeria for young people. It's also the reason I'm not interested in breaking up Nigeria. When you break up Nigeria without dealing with the people who are destroying Nigeria, who have no tribe, who have no conscience, you are still going to meet them in various parts of Nigeria that is broken up. You understand what I'm saying? So let my position be very clear on this. I don't want to jump the gun by saying that, oh, this is what will happen, because my opinion will not count after Nigeria is revolution. It's everybody's opinion that will count. So I cannot jump the gun.
Yes. I have a question from Mr. Omar. He said, Mr. Sowore, now that we have agreed that the youth are brainwashed and perhaps with tribal, religious, and ethnic sentiment in politics, where do we go from here?
We have to keep educating them, mobilizing them, conscientizing them to ensure that they understand that their future is at stake. And honestly, I believe that we are getting there. We're getting there very much. A lot more young people have come to our side of the divide. A lot of them are still reluctant because this struggle is alien to a lot of people. It's what they never fought before. In fact, some of the comments that you see from young people sometimes who will insult you, who will try to demoralize others, it's not because they don't understand that system needs to change, but they just don't want to be the ones who apply their energy to change the system. They're not sure if they want to take the risk.
Yes. MD Abubakar asked you a question that can Mr. Sowore share with us some of the alliances he has currently with civil society organizations in Nigeria to reworking reform in youth through civic education and encouragement? Did you have such things that you're doing now with some civil society organizations?
You see, I have been around for long enough to know that the battle we are fighting now cannot be handled by civil society organizations. Civil society organizations came by way of reform into the Nigerian space. And I'm sorry to say, and I'm not insulting every civil society organization, that a lot of them also do not have the capacity to wage any fights. They are here, some of them to make money, some of them to create alliances with the oppressors, you know. So I don't think that it's a fight for civil society organization. I also don't think that it's a fight for celebrities. It's the reason why I don't beg celebrities to join us. It's not a battle for celebrities, because celebrities and civil society organizations, they don't have staying power, with due respect to them, to fight a prolonged battle. Look at me now. I've been fighting this for a year. How many celebrities can do anything for more than a week? Anything that is not trending or trendy, and not something that celebrities are interested in. When people say to me, "Why don't you get the celebrities involved?" I say, "Well, they're celebrities. They like glittery things. They don't want to soil their hands. They don't want to get down dirty. So don't rely on them too much. Mobilize the real people. It's an organic outrage that we want, not a superficial fight that we start in the morning by afternoon everybody's tired, they want to do other things. No, it's something that takes longer than that. So, we are talking to people. It's an organic movement, not civil society organizations. Civil society organizations that they are very mature, uh, have niches. They come here to do certain things, and it's usually defined in their certificate of incorporation. Some of them are here to fight Guinea worm. They're here to fight issues. They fight for issues. We are here to fight the system, and you cannot go and register an organization to fight. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. Now, you are not saying the fight is for the commoners. It's not for anything. There's no anything
It's,
attached to this
it's,
fight.
it's for the commoners and the uncommoners. If there's any word like, this is a fight for uncommon people, people who are not willing to back down, regardless of the obstacles.
Okay. Now, let's go back to the second segment of the program that we're going to, which is what we are facing as a country right away. Now, we are battling with issue of economy, security, and corruption. What are your takes on issue of insecurity we are having in all the countries, in all the parts of the country we are having now? What are your takes?
What is your question again? I didn't get that properly. Please, can you repeat that?
Yes. Yeah, what I'm saying is today, as a country, as a nation, we are battling with issue of insecurity, issue of corruption, and issue of economy. What's your take in issue of insecurity? Insecurity in the country that has begun the north and some southern part of the country. What's your take on that?
Oh, my take is that the current leadership have lost the plot. They are incapable, they are incompetent, and they are inconsistent. Probably even inconsequential enough to battle the issue of insecurity. There's no way you tell me Nigeria that is secure. To the point that our leaders are even putting money to bribe kidnappers, bandits, right? These are official policies. I'm not making them up. And a whole lot of Nigeria's territory today, states like Katsina, Kaduna, Borno, and states like Yobe are firmly under the control of bandits and terrorists. In the south, a lot of places are under the control of kidnappers, armed robbers. The entire country is under the control of head robbers. Our leaders, a lot of them are thieves, and they have taken control of our territorial. So, insecurity is something that is open to all that lost control of the country in terms of insecurity. My take on it is that
you said something that you said something that the government is bribing the criminals. That's what you're saying. Like, it's bribing the criminals in terms of policies.
Oh yeah.
What don't you think is a solution to what they think can best help them to resolve all these issues?
The solution is to get rid of the people who don't know how to secure the nation. It's as simple as that. And let people who know how to secure the nation take control of the nation or the country. I hate to call Nigeria a nation because we really never, it doesn't meet the tenets or criteria to become a nation, country. So, and that's what we say. How can somebody openly confess to bribing bandits and even calls them to a meeting, and they are all romancing each other like he had in Katsina? The governor of Kaduna, Nasir El-Rufai, came out openly and said that he spent a lot of money on bribing Fulani fighters so that they would not overrun his state. The Nigerian government has been able to give a lot of money to Boko Haram in the name of negotiating to get kidnapped girls, that they did in Dapchi, the one they did also in the Chibok case. So why are they doing all this? Because they've lost their ability to fight to secure the nation. And the says that not only are these people incompetent, they are committing treason against the nation. These are treasonable activities.
Yes, let me bring you in. A former deputy governor of the central bank, that is Mr. Obad Lafayette, also said exactly what you're saying now, that the insecurity befalling the north has been sponsored by some governors and some powerful individuals. Are you also part of the are you also thinking the same way with him?
Obadia Lafia just said it yesterday or 3 days ago. I have been saying it a long time ago. The governor of Borno State said it 2 weeks ago that army generals opened fire on him There's a report in the Nation newspaper today that the army, the top officers of the army and security agencies in Nigeria are not interested in fighting Boko Haram. They are interested in selling fish and livestock. Why are you, where have you been? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I'm telling you that it's not Melafia was just a few days ago. I said the governor of Borno, Zulum, you remember 2 weeks ago? What did he
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
He said it was the army that opened fire on him. They have not denied it. They tried to kill him. Today in the Nation newspaper, there's a report that top officers of our security agencies in Borno are not fighting Boko Haram. They are selling fish and livestock. They are the biggest fish sellers. So instead of fighting Boko Haram, they are just selling. They are just engaging in business, in selling fish from the Lake Chad region. So Melafia is just a belated addition to the people speaking the truth about the real condition of our security situation, especially in the northeast and southern part of and elsewhere.
Okay. On a final note on insecurity, if you are able to achieve what you want to achieve, what will you do in respect to security situation of the Nigeria?
It's complete overhaul. So when I was running for president, I said something and people were like alarmed. I said I will fire every general in the army. I will remove them. Every general in the army will be fired. And we will investigate some of them that will be complicit. And then bring fresh blood, younger officers to take over the fight uh, against terrorists, against bandits. But then you also have to equip them, and you also have to bring the police to do its job. The police is no longer doing its job. Police has been reduced to carrying umbrella for VIPs, very important person, and their wives. So you find a governor has 200 policemen guarding a governor, and there are only 23 policemen guarding a whole village in Zamfara. Does that make sense to you? So there has to be an overhaul of our security architecture. You know, and this is something that we would have to discuss after the revolution. By the way, I'm not duty bound to give you all the secrets on how we'll fix the system, but we will fix the system.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Now let's go back to issue of corruption. And the corruption from the dated back now we are at 60. And what we've been saying since the independence day about corruption in the country is still there. What is the problem of corruption that has not been able to be rid out of our country?
Well, the problem with corruption is that the Nigerian system is built around corruption. Corruption is the oil that governs, that services the leadership of the country. And Nigeria almost cannot work as a corrupt-free state for as long as we have these skilled, very human, wicked, and obsolete political system, economic idea, uh, economic system in place. Because our system is designed to feed the greedy, not to take care of citizens. And everything that done, that is why instead of having a country that runs under or on structures or systems that works, we have a system that's all about contract. Up to the pen that they use in the office of the governor or local government chairman or councillor, it has to be contracted out. So if, for example, you go to a local government or you're on a street pole, go and find out the cost of one street light in Nigeria. In my village in Ondo State, they have solar street lights. It takes 140,000 naira. Yes, it's a street light made of solar panels. It takes $140,000 to change the bulb, just one bulb. In the market,
very funny.
It takes 500 naira. So how do you expect the system to work? You saw the revelations that came out of the NDDC. My village has 2 electrical poles and electrical lines entering it, but it has never had electricity. Instead of one, they had 2. One was made by the NDDC, the other one was made by Osopadek, which is a local version of the NDDC from those states. So my village has never had light before. If we were to be dealing with rational people, you only have one electric line and a transformer. The places have had electricity some 10 years ago. So, except to get rid of the system that perpetrates corruption and also get rid of a lot of duplicated institutions. For example, I am in favor of getting rid of the Senate. We don't need a bicameral legislative system. We just need one. The National Assembly should just be a federal House of Representatives. And all the leaders there, all the members, should be part-time workers, not full-time. They should have other jobs. Because all the National Assembly, as we have it right now, they're just contractors. Everybody, whenever they become lawmakers, they go and register several companies. Some of them have up to 30 portfolio companies, and they're just using it to harass agencies of government, ministries, and to get contracts. So when they go and say that they are doing oversight function, it's just an extortion racket to force those ministries, departments, and agencies of government to part with money or to force them to give them contracts. So get rid of the Senate so that the money we save from getting rid of the Senate or the senators, we can invest in education and health. We don't need a bicameral legislative system. We don't need it. We don't need an EFCC and an ICCC at the same time when they are doing the same function. But all these things, I'm just giving just a few examples. But again, it requires strong leadership, very conscientious leadership, conscious leadership to take the nation in the direction that it needs to go. Well, to turn Nigeria into a nation and then take the nation in the direction of where it needs to go. Of course, people will tell you that, well, if you break Nigeria into regions, each regions can grow at their own pace. The simple question I ask people, which most people have not answered me, is who is your state governor? Is it the person not from your area? The governor of Lagos, is it from Fulani? Is the governor of Akwa Ibom, is it a Fulani man? It's from Akwa Ibom. Lagos governor is from Lagos. Why is it that Lagos governor cannot create a Lagos, right, that doesn't go underwater every rainy season since I was born? And Lagos is the richest state. The revenue that Lagos makes is more than that of Ghana every year. Go to Ghana, my brother. Go to Ghana today. Go to Benin Republic and see what leadership is doing to develop the place. But here, we keep giving excuses. We keep giving them cop-outs. They just come and say, oh, we don't have enough money. Oh, Nigeria's budget is not enough to even buy fire engines. They give you all kinds of crap. And we accept it. It's like we are doomed to accept nonsense. Right? Nonsensical leadership.
Yeah, and now let me There's a recent revelation from an agency, Shadow Responsibility to Fight Corruption. And the revelation, with the way people are getting information of what is chunking out there, doesn't sound awkward to Nigerians with the level of revelation we're getting there as like EFCC. Let me be specific. The revelation we're getting from EFCC. Isn't it terrible that we are living in a dangerous part as a nation?
You are talking about the EFCC. What about the Ministry of Justice? What about the Ministry of Defense? What about the NDDC? The one that we have just seen, the soap opera that was played to us in the National Assembly 3 weeks. Have you forgotten? Right? Those guys, the guys that collapsed in that theater at the National Assembly, within March and June, they embezzled 81 billion naira. 81 billion naira. What have we done about that? With regards to the EFCC, my advice is that if you are proving the EFCC, you should not take it to the president, should not be in private. Let's do it. Why are we not transparent about do it openly? So that we are not being served with piecemeal of information. We don't even know which one to believe. But the thing about the EFCC you must understand is it has to do with interest. The Attorney General wants to talk about the EFCC so that they can use it for their own, and then they set up these razzmatazz you are saying. Otherwise, if you say Magu is corrupt, let Magu be tried openly. We have courts. Charge him to court. Don't go and be hiding in the Aso Rock Villa in one conference room and doing private investigations. And then you now start serving us piecemeal of information for the investigation. It's all manipulation of public temperament.
Now, you said something about justice. Are you telling me that the entire justice system is also infiltrated with this corruption that we're seeing?
Oh, yeah. The justice system is enmeshed in corruption. Apart from being a political activist or a political operative, as most people thought about, I'm also an investigative journalist. And I've investigated a lot of things in the judiciary. In fact, part of why they found it convenient to throw me into jail, some of the ridiculous conditions, because there was You remember in December? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You remember in December when I was in detention and I was abducted in a courtroom. A federal judge, to whom an application was made for my release, said it openly. He said, I cannot sit over Sowore's case because he has written some things, Sahara reporters have written some things against me before. The judge said it open. Yes, in December. So I can't handle his case because Sahara reporters has written some things against me. If I handle it now, they will say it's because I'm afraid of Sahara reporters. If I handle it against him, they will say it's because of the things they wrote against me. If I handle it for him, a judge, they couldn't hide their disdain for my brand of journalism, or our brand of journalism. So the system is rotten from the head to the tail. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. So, as you are aware, I'm sorry, I told the person informing that I'm only going to do 30 minutes with you, but we have done an hour.
Yeah.
Close to an hour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
Can you give us
possible
an
so that we
idea
can
of what
have
is
more
going
meetings.
on?
There's always a lot going on, as you know.
We are wrapping up now. Thank you very much for that. But can you answer this question briefly so that we can wrap up? And shall Mr. Sowore give us an idea of youth empowerment and empower are the best form of government for millions of unemployed Nigerians? What's your take on this question, quickly, please?
I am not in support of Empower. Empower is a temporary solution that is done to corruptly enrich government officials. What I have said in my program of action for Nigeria as a presidential candidate 2019, there are a lot of opportunities that will open up for youth to get jobs. Young people need a few things to make life great for them. One of it is education, one of it is job. And I said in my days as a candidate that I would turn Nigeria into a construction site such that there will be so much to do that when you wake up in the morning, you go to work. By the time you come back, you'll be so tired. Nobody will have time for crime. Because we want to rebuild the country, the entire country, with physical and social infrastructure. I want to build, the ICT sector, like they did in India, and engage a lot of people. I want to do. I'm ambitious about the power sector. By now we should be building acres and acres of solar farms in the northern part of the country. You understand? And with 81 billion naira, we
Yeah.
can hire a lot of young people. But our leaders would rather embezzle the money. When they cannot embezzle, they will tell you that snakes have embezzled the money. When snakes are not embezzling, monkeys are embezzling money in Nigeria. There's so much money that both humans and animals are embezzling, and we still have left. So there's a lot that had been planned and that is still planned for the youth. But my suggestion to young people is stop relying on handouts. Empower is handout. What is 20,000 naira? Well, how far can 20,000 naira take you in a month? It's not even up to transportation money. When I promised during my campaign that our minimum wage proposal is 100,000 naira, that's our starting point. But guess what? They were making fun of me at that time and saying, it's going to affect the economy. How can you pay 100,000? It's going to destroy the economy. Okay, how come somebody embezzling 81 billion naira did not destroy the economy? All the revelations we have heard during this period, here 20 billion here, 81 billion here, banks mistakenly crediting somebody with 500 million naira. As you see now, there's no electricity where I am. They just took light. This is 2020, my brother. 2020. No light. No light in this
That's
country of
terrible.
200 million people. It's in darkness.
In fact,
60 billion,
the
60
studio I'm
billion
in now,
dollars
we are managing on
spent to buy
generator.
us the darkness we are in now under Obasanjo.
And the country is continuing running as if there's no problem. Now, let's go to the final word so that we can wrap up. Thank you very much. I think you've dwelt a lot on our problems as a nation, and you've dwelt a lot as a problem as a youth of this country. What's your final take on Nigeria at 60?
Nigeria at 60 needs a revolution, my brother. Let the youth of Nigeria wake up the same way the youth of Mali woke up some 1 month ago. The same way the youth of America woke up with Black Lives Matter, right? The same way youths are waking up all over the world, and we even partake and participate in some of these struggles, even when they don't concern us. Let's fight a battle that concerns us, our progress, our future, our dignity, and our rights. Let's fight it. And the time to fight it is now. my brother. I'm in darkness, but I say revolution now. The darkness cannot drown my voice.
Yes, I'm also using a gen, and revolution will also come, and we must also make sure we have power. Thank you for having you for this wonderful edition of our program, for giving us an hour of yours to dwell on issues that are affecting us as a nation. And we hope to get you more again so that we can continue to give a clarion call to Nigerians and our youth entirely to see how we can change the status quo of kind of crop of leaders we have in this country. Thank you. Have a wonderful time, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. My name still remains Mohammed Saidu Etsu, the convener of Youth Lead Nigeria, an advocate of Power State. That is Niger State. We are advocating for giving us light in Niger State too. We are the one that are doing it. Thank you.